Yeah, you're seeing that, right? That's a turbo, and that's a turbo. What's up, everybody? It's Monkey Wrenching. I'm your boy Monkey Mike. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We did it. Not only did we make 1,000 subs, I told you I was going to compound this thing, and I did. Now, I didn't twin charge it like we talked about, and I'll explain to you guys why. But I'm super stoked to finally show you guys this. I've been sitting on it for a little bit, waiting for what I felt was just the right time. And I think right now, this is the right time. So let's talk about it. This is a 1991 Mazda Miata 1.6 liter. It is on stock internals, which is stupid. It's just stupid, but don't worry. We got some forged internals right here. I got some other H-beam rods sitting somewhere else. Those of you that have been here for, OG status, you know what we got sitting on the shelf. But for right now, I'm waiting for the other block to get here. And then once I do, we'll go from there. So here's where we're at. Right now, I've got a TD04H-13C being fed by a Garrett GT3071R. I've got a 7-pound spring in this one. I've got a 5-pound spring in this one. The way the compound system works is the primary turbo is the smaller turbo, secondary turbo is the bigger turbo. We're having the small turbine, which is going to be the back housing, the exhaust housing. There's many different little names for it, but that's the turbine side. Comes out of the manifold, feeds up into the second turbine housing, which is going to be a low pressure turbo, high pressure turbo, okay? Try to follow along the best you can. If you got questions, feel free to put them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'm sure there's a few other people that know about this that would be glad to help. So then the exhaust comes out, right? It's regulated by the 2 internal gates. Now I do have planned, possibly, if I can't control the system very well with just these 2, I am going to add an external actuator later on. Currently, I'm not doing it because I don't think I need it. I think that I can manage it with these 2 here, but we'll see. It is running a 2.5-inch exhaust on the J-pipe, and this is a 3-inch exhaust on the, what would be considered, I guess, an up pipe, down pipe, I don't know. The final exhaust. Fumes are really bad in here. Give me a sec. I gotta open this garage. I need a little bit of air. Whew, that 2-step life with a closed garage door. All right, but it was cool though, right? We got the flame. That was what matters. This is why men don't live longer than women. It was cool though, right? All right, let's get back to the turbo stuff. So on the compressor side, your low pressure turbo is going to feed your high pressure turbo. And what happens is typically a turbo is measured by inlet pressure that is from atmosphere. Where in this situation, the primary turbo is being fed pressure. Therefore, changing the efficiency range of the primary turbo as it starts to spool up. So even just 1 PSI is going to exponentially change the characteristics of your primary turbo, therefore allowing for a lot bigger boost numbers to come from something so small. But you still get your snap throttle response off this guy, and it's not really going to be that big of a deal because this turbo is really just taking advantage of the wasted energy that would have otherwise just been shot out of this turbo here. Hope you guys are keeping up. What happens is if I were to run, let's say 5 PSI and 5 PSI, the math on that should be about 17 PSI. So if I'm correct, the math on the 5 and 7, we should be somewhere close to about 19.5 to 20 PSI. Don't quote me on that, but that should be about where we're at right now, which is stupid. I'll probably put boost cut at 17 because this is on stock internals, though we did open the ringing gap quite a bit and we did balance the pistons and everything. So that is the biggest things that have changed for the engine. This right here is really cool. This is a prototype Speedy EFI coil-on plug system that is plug and play or for the NA6 Miata. So that's important because so here is the stock igniter, and we used to have to modify this and add different you add different stuff. I believe it was like 10,000 or microfarad, and I've just got it tucked back here. This here, all it is, you can see right there. Okay, see, it's just a plug. Goes, I wrapped it around, and it goes right over there. So there's the ground right there on the head. Make sure you ground on the head. And then after that, it's just the Toyota 1ZZ coil packs. That's it. I mean, it was really simple to do. You do want to change your dwell. See, cranking is 3.5, and the spark dwell itself is 2.5. 2.5. I want to say it's 2.5. If it's not, I'll put it in the annotations or I'll tell you differently. The Speedy EFI coil on plug system I originally got because I was going to set the supercharger right over top of everything. Instead, I came up with this idea. Some other things that I did was the brake booster delete. Now this is extremely simple. There's really no reason to show you how to do this. I can just show you with the parts out of the car. So here's the brake booster. It has the 4 bolts, right? You just pull those 4 bolts out. You pull these 2 here. I didn't even disconnect any of these lines. I just yanked the thing forward, put it on this here, bolted it on the inside there. And then you're also going to end up taking the pedal out. You drill a little hole in it, which moves the clevis. The clevis goes up and it changes the point of where the brake leverage is in the pedal there. It's super simple, and this works great. I've already tested the brakes. I'm going to go test them, going a little bit faster, but they feel great. I honestly, I like them way more than the vacuum actuated brakes. And what that did is let me move this back quite a bit, that much worth. If that brake booster was still on here, this thing would be sitting somewhere out in here. I think it was like right here, because if I remember right, it wasn't very far away. It was somewhere like right in here. And as you can see, we have a significant amount of room. This thing doesn't even really get hot anymore. With all the venting, oh yeah, there's the hood. Hood's awesome. So let's close the hood and we'll talk about that. Oh yeah, I did add the tile blow-off valve as well. That was something else I did that I haven't shown you guys, and I didn't really see the point in showing you guys because, I mean, it's the same thing I did before. It's just a different, it's like a V-band flange deal. That's really it. Otherwise, everything's the same. I did also finally mount the boost gauge. So yeah, now I can actually see it while I'm driving. We got Billy Bones in here for the ride. That's going to be my passenger. I'm actually going to try to mount like a head cam on there and see if I can get him strapped in. So he'll give you the kind of the head view of what it would be like from a passenger. I imagine it'd be pretty terrifying. So yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about the... Let me pop it back open. We'll talk about the oil supply system. So the oil supply system is done through AN fittings, and I actually use the existing lines and ports I did from before, whereas this is just a single 4 AN line coming out from the block there. Comes in, and it goes to this little Y piece. Y piece goes out to these. Okay, now both these turbos have 1.5 millimeter restrictors at the inlet, and it's usually at about 60 to 70 PSI. To be completely honest, I'm not worried about it in the slightest. Now the oil drain, which so far I haven't seen any problem with yet, I haven't heard any bearings howling or anything real bad, is 10 AN on both, and it does the same thing with this Y piece right here, and it's a very, very short, as you can see. It's just that one little 40 or 90 degree angle, which it sucks that it's a 90. I would have liked to use a 45, but to be honest, it just wouldn't have fit with any of the angles. Everything would be screwed up. And so far I haven't seen any issues with the oil feed or drain. Being that we have such a low volume but high pressure coming in from these lines here, and they feed just fine. It's 4 AN for this is a hot dog in a hallway. I could have used 3 AN if I wanted to. It wouldn't have changed any amount of oil that these turbos are getting. So, to be completely honest, I think it's fine. If Aaron can do it through the dipstick tube for oil drain, I'm pretty sure we can get away with the 10 AN with the 2 turbos. Just that tiny little area. It's what, like that. So, maybe 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches. That's what she said. Just joking. This right here, okay, so that's a T3 to a 2.5 inch V-band flange. Nothing real crazy, but I did order this. That was only like 30-40 bucks. I made this here, this turbo brace. That actually worked out really well. I'm really proud of that, actually, quite a bit. And which is stupid, but it worked really well. Adjustable wastegate actuator. I did have to custom bend that arm. You can see I kind of heated it right there and bent it to where I wanted it to, because I had to clock the turbo in such a way that was a little bit more aggressive than what they have there. So the 7 psi spring I have in there. So the 7 psi spring I have in there may or may not be 7 psi. It might be 10, it might be 5. I'm not really quite sure. Like, there is a bit of experimenting that is going to be happening here. The whole cost of swapping from single turbo to these two, the compound setup, was really quite minuscule for me. If you were to go out and have to buy all this stuff, it'd probably be pretty expensive. On eBay, these turbos are going for anywhere, you know, $300, $400, or $500. This one, if I would have paid for it, would have been $75. I got it for free. Free 30, free 50, free 99. I don't know how you want it. I went to a junkyard. This turbo here cost me about $250 on eBay. I think it was actually $286 if I remember right. The wastegate actuator I took off of another turbo. I did make this wastegate actuator arm, so I actually had to cut off the actuator arm that went to this. This is a T25, so they're both Garrett's, and they both use this 6.5 millimeter deal. And so because the actuator piece here is this is the only arm that I had that fit, and so I had to cut another one of the actuators off that had the bigger piece on it that was meant for one of the max speeding rods turbos. You can just see that thing is much bigger. And then I just welded it in there, kind of ground it down so it didn't look completely terrible because my MIG welder sucks. And then yeah, you can see it's got a really light spring in it. So really this isn't going to make a whole lot of boost. It should only make at max 5 psi. With as weak as the spring feels, I would say maybe even like 3. It really won't make a whole lot until it opens up, and that is fine. Because right now we are on the stock internals, and I gotta be careful with that. But, you know, we got them in there. I'm gonna do an unboxing of those in probably the next video, or... Alright, I had to shut the door because the neighbors started playing music, and, you know, copyright, because we're almost monetized. Woo! So, future plans for this, I do need to get these knuckles put on. You can see random crap from... I've been busy. I've just been making a mess all over the place. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that needs done. But I've been pretty undermotivated with the YouTube stuff lately. And to be completely honest, if it wasn't for the TikTok followers, which thank you all if you've made it this far, thank you all for being here. And the support you've given me over there has been ridiculous. I made almost 22K in a month's time. Wow. Thank you all so much. So, anyways... this is where the Miata's at right now. Haven't made any progress on the J series. I'm going to, I know. I am planning to start getting the V10 turbo is going to get going here soon. I mean, things are ramping up. That support on TikTok really got me excited, got me going. You know, as always, support from my homie Aaron. Aaron, I know you're going to see this. Thanks, bro. I really do appreciate you. Oh, of course, then the dog's gonna start. Anyways, let's end this. I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned. Hopefully some driving footage, some fun stuff coming up. I'm gonna try to make the cruise up to Vegas to Mount Charleston this Sunday. So hopefully I don't kill it between now and then. Peace. And if you're curious how I did the hood, it was 10 snips and a hammer. I legitimately just cut down the center of it anywhere where anything hit and started beating it with a hammer. I used ball peen and a light sledgehammer, so probably I think like an 8-pounder, and I gotta tell you, it felt great. Oh yeah, and then my Arizona heat shield. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys about that. That's pretty cool too. But all right then, peace.